Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. Hold on just a moment. And at Bookmap. Hold on just a moment. And we need to get this up and running here in Discord. Okay, got it. Welcome everybody. Okay, we're broadcasting in Discord as well as in our YouTube channel. Welcome to the live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and we do live analysis in here. It's all part of the education that you get with Bookmap. This is all free, and we have an educational course. Then we have the live analysis to put the education to the test in the live market. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. It is forward-looking analysis. We'll read the current order flow and give insight to where we think price is going to move next. Then we have live trading with Jay Trader, a stocks trader, on Wednesday, and Scott Pulcini, a futures trader, on Thursday. So this completes the education that you get. We also have other streamers in our Discord channel. We have Tom B that goes over volume profiles. We have Rain, who's also in the morning, who will go over the crypto markets. Let's go through some disclosures and then we'll jump right into the markets. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's jump in and let's take a look here. One thing on YouTube, got to mention this on the calendar. So what we have upcoming here later today, so you can see in the streams here. Right after this webinar, we'll have Tom B, okay, at 11:30 a.m. And then later today, we have another Bookmap streamer here, or Bookmap trader, partner of Bookmap, and it is Patrick Wayland. He will be on at 3 p.m. East Coast time, so the last hour of trading. Looking forward to that. Okay, so that's what we've got lined up in the schedule. Okay. All right, so let's jump into these markets and see what's going on. Now, in these webinars, we can look at any of the markets you want to look at in the symbols here. It doesn't really matter to me. I just want to cover whatever most people want to look at. Could be stocks. We connect to U.S. equities. We also connect to Bitcoin or all the crypto markets as well. There's multiple exchanges that we connect to. I'm looking at here Binance Futures and Bitcoin USDT. All right, so looking at the S&P E-mini general market, the S&P here, here's what we see. Well, we had a bullish day yesterday. We're having a bullish morning here as well. You see this very narrow range that we're in pre-market. And on the bid, you can see there's some interest in here. Notice how they're kind of pulling a little bit on the offer. Just we're looking at, from 6 a.m. To current market right now, East Coast time, or after 10. And starting to understand even a little bit of the order flow in here. It's just really, going sideways. But look at the bid in here. Okay, look underneath as well. There's interest. They want to buy. Okay, this is below 3,800, the figure. Here's the move after 9 o'clock up into and through 3,800. Here's the 9:30 cash open, an immediate bounce to the upside, pull back, and continuation move to the upside. Okay, now where's the high liquidity? Where do we think price might be going? Well, 38.50. Okay, so this is already a 50-point move from 3,800 to 38.50 up here. We have 639 contracts waiting, and they've been waiting the entire session to transact. So this is where the sellers are, and the market understands that. So if we zoom in, we can start to see the kind of behavior of these traders, because it's all here in the heat map. We can see that oh, I don't have the video on. Hold on. There we go. All right, you can see that the traders here start to look, they're offering down a little bit lower here. They're adding more here. It's getting darker in here. The heat map is showing the amount of orders increasing here on the offer. This is starting to scare away some of the buyers, or at least there's not enough buyers to trade up into it right now. We may have to come back down, and maybe we'll see if there's more buyers interested to come back up here and to trade into 38.50. Okay, this is the context that we talk about all the time in the order flow. Understanding this relationship between the aggressors, which is the market buy and sell orders. In this case, the green dots are market buy orders, the red dots are market sell. In this context of liquidity, where are they on the offer? They're up here. Okay, the sellers. Where are they on the bid? Well, they were here. They were here as well, and they did transact right in here at 38.40. Market came down a little bit lower. And then what's going on right now? Well, we can see on both sides, actually. We see on the offer here, 40, 42, and then here at 35 and about 33, looks like. Some liquidity there. And then also down here at 38.30. All right, so this is, that again, that context we want to understand. And right now, if we zoom in here, let's take a quick look. We're not really getting too much context. We're right in the middle between these two areas. And we're not really seeing any sort of imbalance in the order book nor in the volume right now. There it is. There's an imbalance. Okay, so 36.50. Do we find buyers or sellers after these guys came in the order book? Okay, not much actually. And then they just pulled that liquidity. So what's going on here? This is like a test, and it makes really good sense. And they're likely up here now too. We can see that that behavior in here, pulled and then added up here, and then kind of understanding the kind of temperature of the market in here. Okay, like kind of dipping your foot into the or your toe into the pool. And there we go. Now we found buyers. Okay, and there's our context. All right, so we found buyers up here. Now we're finding buyers. Let's see if they can pull it higher. 42. And then we might get a pullback here, back to just here at 40. Let's see if, yeah, we're getting a little bit deeper here. Maybe let's see if they can bounce off of here and find some buyers and trade back up into 42. And let's see if we can get a breakout now. Okay, so we see liquidity here on the bid at 39.50 and looking for them to trade into 42. There we go, a little more on the bid there at 41. And that, see how that kind of pushes the buyers up into 42, and then here's a bit of a breakout. Now, not so sure what I think about this breakout. I would say what we know so far, there's more buyers. We'd look for it to continue. However, let's just take a look at the context here. Okay, this is good. It traded up here. We want to see it actually. We want to see more buyers up here. Okay, at 43 3/4, or up here at 45. We may get there, but you know, we're not really seeing too much commitment here yet. We're just reading the context between these limit sell orders and limit buy orders, and the aggressors, the market buy and market sell orders. So see how we're right back down to where we started from here. Okay, we even have the potential for these sellers to really hit the bid hard and trade not only down to here, but here at 30, 35, and then maybe we'll get a stop run down below there, and then maybe we can even get down into 30 down here. Okay, there we go. There's our sellers into 35. Okay, bit of a bounce. Not much of a stop run here. It's this red line here. And then the blue line here are Iceberg transactions. So they're actually buying icebergs in here from here on down. They are on the bid with their iceberg orders getting filled. All right, a little bit of buying coming back in. Let me get to some questions here. Aloha, Tony. Good morning. Okay, Matthias, what resistance do you consider as strong or weak, like when it is not a pullback anymore? Yeah, that's a great question. So I was trying to cover this yesterday, and we just had kind of a choppy market to cover. This right here is a low volume pullback right now. Okay, it broke from here and it pulled back to here, but look at the volume here. There's more sellers than there are buyers up here. Okay, there is kind of an imbalance here. Now, what we covered yesterday were these pivot points like right in here. If we get buyers back up above this, it really doesn't matter. But right now, we have to give the nod here to the sell side. Okay, just because there's more sellers than buyers in here so far. Okay, we are trending down. They made a lower high in here in the structure as well. So I'm still looking for more sellers to come in here and then hit down to 34, 33, maybe 30. Look at the volume in here. Okay, we don't see a whole lot of buying. There's some. It's not bad actually, but it's not as much as the selling here. Okay, and the selling in here didn't really cause a stop run either. Not much. The stop run was actually here, right in this area here. Right. So again, starting to understand the context in here. Now this is, we just put this pivot line in and then talked about this. This is that kind of choppy action that we saw yesterday. That we're still looking for sellers here on a low volume pullback. But if buyers get back up above it, then all of these guys in here, they're going to get stopped out up here. Okay, and we look for the market to try to test up here and maybe get to 45 now. Everything kind of shifted and changed now here. All right, so that context is what we really want to understand in here, and we want to look for something that's higher probability. So a higher probability is, well, when we see something that when all of these things start to align up, it looks really good, the order flow. And what I mean by order flow is the participants in the market here are really kind of shouting or telling us something, right? And right now it's not really telling us. We didn't think this was telling us too much. We had to go with it because the buyers were moving the market, but we talked about the scenario of a move back into the range and then bottom of the range. And then right now we're getting the same thing back up here. Okay, so again, a shift in here. Now they have traded back up to this high here and a bit above it as well. Okay, so pretty tricky stuff in here, but it's this, the shift happened here, right? And we mentioned it before it occurred. I'm looking for that potential scenario. Now, we don't know if you know, if maybe it'll come up to 38.50 now. Maybe there's enough buying pressure. Maybe there's like the stop run here will kick off and ignite a nice move, and then more buyers pile on and try to trade it up to 38.50. Okay, it's a likely scenario here. It's already bouncing off of this 43 here. All right, so let's see if we get it. We're looking for buyers up here. Okay, and now this was what it would make this higher probability, which is Matthias, your question, to answer your question. Okay, they did flip in the book here. They're on the offer here, they're on the bid here, but they're down here. So it's really not giving us too much, but the aggressors, if we take the heat map off, the aggressors are still telling us basically, yeah, they can move this market more easily now than the sellers right now. Okay, now all of a sudden sellers may come in here at 43 and just pound it right down to 39 again. Okay, we don't know that either, but we can look at the context of the order book in here to try to help. And right now it's not really helping too much. They're down here at this kind of 40.5. They're up here at 46 on the offer. So there's a lot of kind of dark area in here, and it can just bang around in here pretty easily without getting too much insight here. Okay, what we're looking for in here, if we're going to continue on up, is we're looking for buyers to support it here on the bid. So we'd be looking for this. We'd be looking for the order book to show high liquidity like this in here, and they maybe they even chased up, something like this, and then these guys here on the offer, well, we want to see them, maybe they had liquidity in here and they start to pull it, okay, and this guy up here starts to pull it, okay, and then what we're looking for is big green dots here, 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 all the way up to there, okay. That would be a much better scenario, because the market's telling us that, wow, we're finding buyers. The sellers here are not interested. They are interested in buying on the bid. So these are the scenarios that we go through. Now you can take this scenario here and flip it as well, okay, which is actually kind of what's playing out right now. So let's just get rid of the drawings here and let's just do it again, okay. So on the offer, okay, following maybe down on the offer, on the bid, maybe they're pulling, okay, and they don't want to be buyers down in some of these areas, and then we're looking for big red dots to pull this market down into some of these areas here, okay. And this scenario is kind of playing out right now. It's not the greatest either. It's really not telling us too much right now, but it is more likely. It is telling us more than the other scenario, right? Okay, does that make sense, Matthias? Do you have questions on that? Okay, we covered this yesterday as well. What's the stop run, Rare? Yeah, stop run is where a trader, well, have you ever been stopped out? You put a stop loss in and you've been stopped out. Well, a stop run is multiple stops. Okay, so many stops all occurring at once. I'll go through and I'll detail one out for you, maybe over here, and show you like how it unfolds. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at it now. Look at this. Okay, we were looking for sellers here, pull back, maybe sellers again. Well, did we get sellers down here? No, we're actually getting buyers down here and buyers up here. So this scenario has the potential. Now these guys got to pull, or we got to find enough buyers to trade into and through this 43 3/4. Okay, so but they're still here on the offer right now. So we're still not getting too much out of this at the moment here. Okay, so this is actually, you think, well, then what is this worth here? If Bookmap is not showing you much in the order flow, well, it's actually telling you quite a bit. So if it's not, if the traders here aren't screaming at you, they're, what they're looking for, where this might be going, what their interest in the market, then you can just, it's invaluable. Is telling you not to do anything. Okay, look for something that's better. Okay, wait and watch, and then pull a trigger on something when you have it everything aligned and everything looks good for a higher probability trade. Okay, it's all here in the chart. It's in the chart. The chart is telling you the behavior of these participants. Okay, else you get caught up in these things, and you can possibly get, if there's enough sellers right here right now, these guys are going to have to get stopped out down here likely. Okay, so again, all these different scenarios to go through and start to understand the order flow in here. So let me go through some more questions. On the last hour, 3 to 4 p.m., you don't cover this live. Yeah, I mean, I have in the past. It's trying to capture the most interest here from the crossover between Europe and the US is why we're holding these webinars at these times. There isn't a time of high algo trading period, and there isn't a time of low liquidity quite active. Not sure, oh boy, what you mean. Can you please explain the times? What is normal, periodic, in time, and why is it so? Okay. So the well, if you're talking about timings of the market, Okay, then you know, okay, so we covered this actually last week, and we covered it in kind of an interesting way, about talking about initial balance, which a lot of traders talk about in volume profile. Okay, all it means is the first hour of trading, because during that first hour there is a ton of interest. So let's take a look here. See this is actually from yesterday's activity, and see the volume smile here. Really high volume here, very low volume in the midday, and very high volume at the end of the day. Okay, the volume smile, you'll see it again and again. If we go back here in time, I guess I don't have enough bars in here. Yeah, now I should. Yeah, see the smile, the smile, the smile every day. Okay, is very typical. So what that means is what we want to understand in the beginning of the day. I don't know if are you talking about timings of the market? So we want to understand where the majority of the participants in the morning are and who's in control. That's what we were talking about yesterday, or we talked about it for a long time. Well, we can see who's in control. Buyers, buyers, buyers. Okay, no, there's just no question about it, right? And even this pullback here, look where the pullback came to so far. It came back down to this little nook right in here, right? And then it has bounced off of that. Okay, now we're coming back up. All right, so we have the potential here. If we get enough buyers up here, if we get that order book here, this actually, look at this, even this pattern in here. It's kind of like a cup and handle, right? Okay, buyers up here, more buyers here. Now, this is where the buyers have to take it. Okay, if they don't, because they're making lower highs in here, we need to see these buyers step up right now. Okay, if they do, we should be able to trade up to 46, 48, and 50. And they're starting to. Okay, still looking for these buyers. Now, if you want to take a shot at something like that and you start to see that buying come in here, you're looking for taking it up maybe to the top of the range, consider taking some off just to reduce your risk. You can put your stop at break even if you like, or overall break even. So if you took a couple points here, you'd have a couple points stop loss, and you'd have nothing on the if you got stopped out on it, but you wouldn't lose money, right? And now we're looking for the move up into 38.50. All right, so there's plenty of time to get involved in these things. This is why, you know, we're looking for these moves to unfold now. When we look for the order flow, I mean, this is one way to consider trading the order flow. You're looking for it to move now. Okay, if it doesn't, then something's wrong, right? It needs to still find more buying pressure, or there's sellers in here, and a lot of sellers are interested in trading it maybe back down into these lower areas. Okay, so we're still looking for buyers though in here. Okay, now, was this higher probability? Yeah, a little bit. Why? Well, they're pulling a little bit on the offer here. Now the bid, we didn't get anything here, but we also got the power here. We see the big green dots, okay, the aggressors, right? So we had two things. It's not the highest probability in here, but we had two things that we're looking for. And then we're looking for now follow through. It already pulled back here to about 44. We're looking for more buyers, and we're looking for, now this would be a like a flag pattern. Okay, and I don't care about calling it a flag pattern. I only use that to identify what's actually going on. And what's happening here is buying pressure takes a break. We see some sellers, maybe some profit taking, and then we're followed again by buying pressure. Okay, now we need to see these buyers step up and for this to continue on up into 38.50. Okay, but that is the most likely scenario right now. All right, and that's what we're looking for in the order flow to unfold. This the two tip-offs here for us making this a little bit better trade was they're pulling on the offer. Now look at, see them add on the bid right there, right here. Okay, and what was the reaction? Buyers, right? Okay, so that gave us a little bit of insight. Now they pulled, and then we see that you know, it's still kind of weak or soft down here. You know, they're down here on the bid here, but the aggressors are the ones leading the charge here. Okay, that's always the case. The aggressors are always leading the charge. Well, I shouldn't say that. It is a big part of the market activity, though. Okay, it's the traded volume that technically moves the market. Okay, because they can take all the liquidity from one level and move price to the next level. Okay, so still looking for this 38.50 here. Got up to about 49. 49 did transact 308 contracts. Okay, so still looking for the push here up into 38.50, most likely scenario. All right, so that's how you can put together the pieces here in the order flow. Okay, now I know that this may be foreign to a lot of traders when they look at this and they're reading context of these orders in here instead of reading some sort of indicator, okay, that's going up or down or whatever, and tries to give some insight. Well, the indicator, it can be very blinding, I feel, and also lead you in the wrong directions. The indicator, we can look at cumulative volume delta, or we can look at stochastics or whatever it might be, and I think it just kind of erroneously gives a false, it gives a false sense of confidence to traders, thinking, well, everyone's looking for clarity, right? And to reduce risk. They want something more sure. Okay, well, reading the behavior of the traders can be more sure than some line on a chart. Okay, again, it's an auction. So if we're reading the behavior in the auction, so you look at liquidity here, buyers, let's see the move into 38.50 and a push through it. Let's see if we can get up into 52, 53. What else is up here? 60, way up here, 60. All right. Now, if you started to see this behavior here and you're looking to maybe take some off at the top of some of these ranges in here, just a little bit, move your stop to break even. Okay, we talked about that. You're protected. All right, and you're just waiting for this the overall move to unfold, and you've got a little bit in the bank. And this is trade management we're talking about. We're not talking about order flow now. Okay, and that's a lot of reasons why we talk more about order flow, because trade management, you can look that up on the internet anywhere, and there's so many different ways to do it, and that's up to the specific trader, the time frames, etc. Okay, but the order flow in here in the visualization in Bookmap is rather unique, and that's what we want to cover here. And then trade management, you can, maybe you're looking for a higher time frame, your stop's way down here or even way down here, and you're looking for a much bigger move here, whatever the case may be. All right, so let me get back to the questions, and let me make sure that I answered Matthias's question. Just not quite sure how to precisely distinguish between high and low volume. Okay, so it's all referential here in Bookmap. So when I zoom in and out, you'll see the heat map will change in color in some of these areas that are historical already, and that's just not possible. It's already set in stone. Like what traded or what was up here in terms of the order book is set in stone. It can't be changed. The heat map changes because maybe more here. I'll zoom into this area here, right, and you'll see the heat map change. Okay, so this area is now red. Okay, if I zoom vertically, you'll see that area now it's orange, right? Because it's this liquidity up here at 38.50 is more than this one here. All right, So that's kind of what it does. We do that by design in Bookmap, so that you can look at the reference here. It's the same with the volume dots. Like you might see a big dot here, but then if I zoom, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's actually this one is the big dot up here. All right. Okay. Well, depending on your actions, maybe you just got stopped out at break even on this, but you did take some out, and you're looking for that 38.50. Okay. So let's kind of see what happens here. This is where those buyers came in originally. Maybe we can get a bounce off of here, but we're seeing our sellers come in here. I'm actually looking for buyers to trade it back up here to about 46, and see if we can get that. Okay, pull back here. Sellers coming in, pull back up to about 46. Okay, it's just like a little scalp there, a little 2-point scalp. And now see they're pulling up there as well. Okay, I don't see anything on the bid yet, so I'm not looking for it to break out up into 38.50 right now. But they are pulling here. High and low volume, also small bubbles can potentially move the market quite a lot. Yeah, I mean, why? So pose the question, why do you guys think that the small bubbles can move the market? Why? How is that possible? And then I got to get back to some of these other questions here. Okay, so, oh boy, you've been talking about the last hour of trading. Well, there's a whole lot of things going on at the last hour of trading, especially the last half hour of trading. The last 15 minutes or 10 minutes is just wild. There's, you know, people are shoring up their positions for the day, reducing their risk. And it's just like during this webinar, in another hour, we're going to have the European close, and we're going to see some volatility during that time. It's just normal. And that order flow, to understand what's going on in that order flow, is a little more complex to understand the behavior of the traders. Right. So yeah, but we, you know, the reading of the order flow is the same. It's just that what happens is a lot of times you'll see like massive green dots, like suppose these were just huge, right? Let's just, you know, make them really big here just by using the size. Massive green dots, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, wow, okay, this is going to 38.50 and maybe even higher, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, you'll see equal or even bigger sell dots in here, and all of a sudden we're down here, right? Well, you still got to go with the order flow reading. We're still looking for this to go higher. Okay, and then we're looking for the behavior in here. It's just, it happens really quickly. Okay, and order flow is order flow. I mean, it does not lie. It can't. It's capturing the behavior, the transactions. So what happened is what happened. That's that. So it's very objective in that sense. It's not. You can't point to Bookmap and say it didn't work, because it's just showing you the condition of the market here. These are the transactions. This is the liquidity. This is the price structure that is, or, you know, the price action here. That's undeniable. So it's the context we're reading into the price structure and the behavior of the traders within it that gives us the insight in reading the order flow. All right, so here we go. We got sellers coming in here. All right, so yeah, just testing into where these buyers came in, and yeah, they may be able to like pull it all the way back down here to 39. Okay, so then there we go, right? So, And this is going to be a stop run as well as someone hit the order book hard on the bid. It's not just a stop run in here. We'll go through this as an example. This will be a good example. There's also an iceberg on the other side of it absorbing. So we'll go through this example here. That'll answer some questions for you guys. Okay. Tony, we can take a look at NQ. Let me just shore up some of these questions in here. So did I answer your question, oh boy? I mean, the close is, you know, there's a lot of considerations there setting up for the next day. You know, suppose that you see the market close at a high that day, and you just see massive buying at the end of that day. You know, you might want to stay in the market and trade the overnight, and just look for it to just keep going higher, grinding higher and higher and higher. You know, I mean, that again, that is no different than understanding the open here, and that we are bullish until we see something different. Okay, and we're still bullish. Okay, it's just, you know, we just see a lot of kind of hacking around up in this area on the smaller time frame. Larger time frame, this is looking super strong. Well, it's up to you, oh boy, to avoid that trading. Do you have good luck trading that? Can you read the order flow well? Are you profitable during those times? You know, sometimes I struggle with the close. Sometimes sometimes I can't get a read on it. Other times it's clear as a bell. It's the same with the European close. We're like, wait a minute, hold on. These are, you know, kind of erratic orders in here. Sometimes we can read it pretty clearly. Other times we're not so sure. Typically that's around times when there's, you know, some sort of geopolitical stuff going on in the market. Okay, but you know, these are all things to consider to give you kind of a like a map to your trading plan, to understand what it is you want to do. For example, if there's good earnings, but that's it. That, you know, everything else in the world is just going just fine, and there's good earnings, and you see that it's a bellwether stock, and then the S&P closes at highs for the day and on tons of volume. Well, that's, you know, that's telling you something. The behavior of the players are telling you something. So, you know, maybe larger players will come in and try to, you know, spoof the market, try to get it lower, but it's going to be short-lived because there's going to be other larger players who are going to buy it at the bottom of those areas. So, you know, these are all considerations. All right, I hope that helped. So the buyers at 40, when did you write that? Rare, I don't have a timestamp here. And let me take a look also in all right, in Discord here. Okay, so nothing in Discord. More questions over here in our YouTube. Yeah, there's a lot of traders. BlackRock looking at the SPY as well. For example, Doug Plus, he's an options trader. He's looking at the SPY and the QQQ, comparing that to S&P E-mini futures products. So, you know, trying to understand, again, the players in the market here. Okay, they're just using, you know, there's tons of arbitraging, and they're just using different instruments. So let's see. All right, lots of questions. I'll go through them. Stop run, here's a stop run. Let me show you exactly how much. Let's see here. Automatic, I don't want that on. Nor icebergs, I don't want that on either. We're going to look at all of them. Okay. Okay, cool. So this is great. So we knew that this was not all, that this stop run here, let's just take this off for now, the heat map. We knew that it was not all stops in here on the way down. How did we know that? Right? Or why did we speculate on that? Anyone have an answer on that? Like, I know there's lots of great traders in here. So, well, because this moved down and kind of shot down below here, in the way that this shot down, it had to be a bigger order that kind of kicked this off down. And what happened is in here, here's the larger player that had tons of liquidity and dumped and just hit the bid hard. And then there's stops that are in here. Okay, this is a big one because between 40 and 42, we have 2 points in here, whereas nothing but pure selling that came in and moved this market 2 points lower immediately. Okay, within less than a blink of an eye. Okay, about half of a blink of an eye, basically. Okay, all of a sudden it just moved down. And then best bid and offer, see how that updates later? Okay, so this is one singular event, and within that one singular market event, there's actually multiple events in here that took place. So it's a larger player coming in, hitting the bid, and their order, even though it's an aggressive order, it gets filled first. All right, so they take all of the liquidity off of these price levels, and then throughout here, there are stops being triggered. Okay, they're being triggered, but this order is not filled yet. It's not totally filled yet. Okay, so down here, finally, it's fully filled here at 40 and a quarter. So why did price go lower? Because stops are triggered now. There are 44 stops that were triggered in here at this level. So if you put your stop in here within this 2 point range, maybe you had your stop up here, you got slipped 2 points. Okay, and it's that's pretty ugly stuff. And that's how you can lose more than you put at risk in the market. And that's one way. Yeah, these 44 orders down here, well, whatever, how many ever traders are in here are not too happy about that. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, that's what unfolded in here. All right. Now, this was an aggressive market sell, and then the stops triggered down here only at 38.40 and only 44. Right. There's the anatomy of a stop run right there. Okay, and we have an iceberg in here getting filled, completely filled here, and then updated here. It was detected here for 105, and actually looks like there's two. Yeah, detected here and here, so one for 5, one for 100, and then it fully filled and executed, both of them, for 105 right here, up at this price level. Okay, so yeah, the aggressor kept on sweeping that order book lower down into this level here. All right, so there's your stop run, and in this case, the stop run, kind of stuffed a bunch of people down here. Sometimes you see the stop run, see the red line, that's where the stop run began. Sometimes it begins way up here. So someone kicked off something that triggered a bunch of stops all the way down, and that would be a pretty big stop run. Okay, sometimes you see that unfold, right? But anyway, there's the anatomy of the whole thing, and not too many other pieces of software out there can show you these kinds of details. And why does that matter? Because this is showing you precisely how the market works, and that can be invaluable. Okay, you really can understand the details in here of what unfolded, right? And that's what Bookmap does. It's just showing you the market activity, and we're just displaying it for you. All right, and that's it. Okay, here's a stop run now to the upside in here. Okay, so we came all the way back down into 39, which we talked about. Okay, we saw this move, and then it kind of chopped around. It did come down to 39, and now look at the buyers coming back in, back above. This is another choppy day in here. When are we going to get some kind of pure price action? Yeah, I'm still looking for them to trade up into 38.50 here after all of that. So let's kind of limit our stops and icebergs here, just not show them for now on chart. All right, so answered that question. And I think this is helpful for a lot of traders that to understand like really what unfolded here, and then we can put this into context as well. That we see a larger player dumping, we see a stop run down there, and then look at how it controlled price there for a while, right? All of this in here, it created this whole range in here, right? That's why these things are important to understand. Okay, now we're seeing buyers back up above that area. Okay, great. Even more buyers. Okay, great. Now we get more up here. Great. Looking for this. Okay, up into 50. All right. So again, same stuff. Very repetitive here. Same stuff in the order flow we're looking for. Okay, now do we have all the pieces in here? Not really, right? We see them getting filled actually here on the offer. We don't want to see that. We'd want to see them pulling, not getting filled. And there's actually some resistance here, or some supply here on the offer. Okay, before this 38.50. Nonetheless, the condition is we're finding buyers here. Okay, aggressive buyers. They're taking on these guys and want to trade into them. Great. Okay, well, looking for them to continue then on up to the 38.50. Okay, now we have a little bit on the bid. What's the reaction? Do we find sellers? A little bit. Trading into that. Okay, we had an iceberg here, another stop run here, and that's another stop run there. And then right back down to where we just broke out from. Okay, and again, buyers coming right back in. Okay, they should have enough power now to trade up into 38.50 and above it, looking for 38.52. Okay, now the only thing, again, we just don't have a strong bid in here. Okay, we're finding the aggressors in here so far. Okay, there's still more buyers than there are sellers here. So again, looking for buyers here, trade back up into the kind of ranges in here, and I think there's enough buying in here, pressure to break out. Okay, just based on this behavior in here. Okay, and down here, we're leaning on that as well. Okay, all the way down here, in fact. Okay, so this is what can help us, kind of lean on that buying information in here. And we've been talking about that in terms of bull flags, for example. Okay, all it means is a pullback, strong move, impulse move, pullback, followed by another strong or impulse move. Okay, and still looking for that here to unfold. We just don't have much on the bid here. Okay, that's all. AC, okay, that's a good question. So you love looking at the anatomy of some of these types of events. Yeah, I mean, I want to. I'm fascinated by it, but I want to go over those kinds of events not just because we can display them and that they're interesting, but how does it help you, get more clarity so you can make better decisions and make more money. Okay, that's what we want to get at in here. Yeah, it's fascinating stuff, but how can we use that? Just like it would be no different about understanding the news and geopolitical events. Okay, great, but how can we use that to make money? All right, and we're doing the same thing here in the order flow. So there's our move into 50, finally did it. And what's the reaction? Well, enough buying pressure to get up here, stop run it as well. And then look at them on the offer here right after. They're on the offer here, goes through, they're on the offer again here. This is supply and it's kind of resistance right now as well. Let's get to more questions. Lots of questions. So, oh boy, about your timing, I would say the same thing, like as that initial balance, understanding like all this kind of in that volume smile. I mean, you can kind of see these points in here, kind of a little bit of a smile in here as well, right? In the bars, we can you know, see it in here. So buying pressure, a little bit of selling in here, buying pressure, right through here. Okay, so there's still more buyers in here basically. Okay, so and again, the timing then, well, down here would be less meaningful basically, because of the amount of participants in this auction down here. Okay, but up here we see a lot of participants. Okay, and previously here as well. So we have the potential for this to climb higher basically. All right, now we have a pretty strong offer here, so we've got these buyers here are going to meet, you know, all of these sellers in here, or they're meeting them. Okay. Now low volume pullbacks, there was a question about how can small dots really move the market. Just think about the participants in that auction. Let's suppose that this bid in here, see 81.99, like let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay, and boy, and we're not getting much out of this heat map here. Maybe a little bit more down here. See 101, 112, 177. Okay, well, if these guys pull that liquidity and these become like you know, 10 or 8, you know, single digits in here, it does not take much for sellers to trade into and through those areas, and market can go lower. Okay, you'll see in stocks especially how the market can go up on more sell volume, or the market could go down on more buy volume. All right, so yeah, that's another condition to understand. Okay, in the order flow. No, Dietrich, I mean, look into your SPY options and the ES chart. Yeah, I think I mean, I know Doug Pless trades that way, but you know, he's looking at spot gamma products and other things in there, and they nicely put together some levels in Bookmap. You might want to look into that. Okay, and yeah, there's more information coming out about that as well. I don't want to look for more information coming out about that soon in our digest email. Okay, and then our Discord community as well. And oh boy, would it be better to avoid the 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes? It's contextual. If you see an advantage, take it. If you don't, then stay away from it. Abdullah, no, we don't have any plans of making this a phone app right now. You really need to kind of be there and see this information. It'd be pretty difficult on a phone. Okay, Rare, I think I just covered the stop run for you in detail. Let me know if you guys still have questions about that. I do have gold open, I believe. Yeah, Z contract here if you guys want to take a look at that, and we'll look at NASDAQ as well. Okay, gold, yeah, still bullish here. You see the pullback here, and not really seeing much right now. NASDAQ, let's jump over here. Guys, one of the things that I find personally like about looking at the stock indexes is aligning them in correlated fashion here. Is the NASDAQ making higher highs? Is it starting to break out? How does it relate to the S&P? Okay, so that gives so much information, so much information. If you just wait for this and look at the Russell as well, or maybe the YM as well, and look for when they're starting to turn around, instead of having to look at just the S&P and go, okay, well, is it going to turn around now? Has it finished? Is it exhausting? Are we starting to find some buyers here? Yeah, that's all helpful. Absolutely. It's reading the orders and the order flow. However, if we can jump over and look at other markets and we start to see the same behavior, they're all going to pull each other up or down. All right, so I would suggest reading the order flow on multiple correlated markets to gain some real insight on some pretty big moves. Oh boy, look at 15-minute chart on a bullish flag pattern. All right, let's take a look. Do you mean the candlestick chart, right? Yeah, I don't really see anything right now. The market's pulled back. It's in this kind of range here. We haven't looked at our higher time frame, but guys, this is you know what, I'm going to do this exercise. I think you'll find it very valid, and we'll go through these higher time frames, and we'll go through. We're going to ditch the correlated markets for now, and we'll go through the just the S&P right now. But this, I think, will help you guys understand the order flow and what we're looking at. Tie together, these are multiple webinars that tie all these pieces together. So please, they're all recorded. You can go back and you can watch them. You can watch them in 2 times the speed as well. And then put some of these pieces together. Because we're going over the live analysis, so we go over what the market gives us, and sometimes it doesn't give us much. Sometimes it gives us something that we want to cover, but it's maybe not in line with the previous webinar or webinars. You keep BlackRock, you keep hearing people also looking at the SPY. Yeah, okay, so we just covered that. Lucero, there may be a Black Friday sale. I'm not going to comment on that. It's not even November yet. So maybe there'll be a Halloween sale. I don't know. Do I find it harder to trade in the highs? No, I mean, if we see something good and we read the order flow in here, we're looking for it to unfold. I mean, if it doesn't, it wasn't ready. Like, you got to look for a pullback and then maybe it be ready again, or maybe sellers just totally take control and it's a reversal pattern. This is where the risk comes in. Every trade, you can't avoid risk. You've got to take it. Okay, but if you see this in here and the power of these buyers coming in here, you can look for something higher probability, even though like we mentioned in here that it's pretty dark underneath here. We want to see that imbalance in the order book, them pulling, and then this kind of push by these aggressors in here for something that gives us more insight, right? This gave us enough insight into 50 and a little bit above. Yeah, we would have loved to have seen 52 and 53 or 54. This is as high as it went. This is what it gave us. So take what it gives you. Manage your trade. And that's a consideration, not a trade recommendation. You can't, it's up to the amount of risk you want to take. Anyway, I'm hoping this is answering a lot of questions in here. Oh boy's question as well. So I don't have a problem trading some of the highs, but yeah, sometimes it makes me a little weary if I don't see clarity in that direction, right? That's for sure. Like suppose, for example, see how there's big green dots at the top of these areas here? I like seeing that. Okay, if I see big green dots down here and then it tapers off up here, okay, so it looks more like this, it would be like your big move would be like, here's a big green dot, here's another green dot, and it starts to kind of taper. That I don't like seeing if I want to see buying strength come in. Okay, it may go higher, but it may be just kind of like exploring here, no more buying interest. You'll start to see those sellers come in. Okay, and then maybe they take control of it and move it back down below, right? So this is looking pretty good though, pretty strong in here. I think that's what oh boy was talking about, or someone was talking about in terms of the flag patterns in here, right? Okay, I'm going to put a poll in here. I'm just really curious. Okay. So the question is, do you like it when we cover the microstructure and the anatomy of the price action? Yes or no? All right. So yeah, let us know. Pumpkins by the pound. Okay. Oh boy. Yeah, it's because like you know, we've gone over it many times, and we keep, you know, new traders come in, and we want to educate traders on that. It also, you know, coincides with the stops and icebergs. So you know, you start to learn first what it is, and then you can learn to take advantage of it and use it for insights, like Scott Pulcini does. Okay. Yeah, so Rare, you're talking about do I use pullbacks, reversals, momentum strategies? Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, look at the momentum here. Like this is strong. This is a strong move, right? And then you start to target high liquidity as the figure, 38.50. Okay, now it pulled back. Look at the pullback even though. Okay, it pulled back to the strong move and it's back up. Okay, probably get a little bit of a pullback in here too, but we just might get buyers and come straight for it here. Up and so see how they pulled in here. See that? That's a spoof right there. That's layering. That's pretty classic stuff. Now let's see if we can get a little bit of on the bid here, followed by buyers. And we'll come up right back up into 38.50, and maybe it will break out this time. Okay, so here's our bull flag pattern yet again. This is a strong one too. Okay, so I'm looking for these buyers to trade up here. This looks pretty good, right? We're getting a little bit of a pullback now. Okay, now how do you get involved in here, right? Well, you're going with the strength. You're going with the momentum of that strength in here. Okay, and you're looking for it to continue. Right now, reduce some risk at some key areas. This looks pretty key. It's a figure. It's also you know, where it kind of reversed here. You see it pulled back, and now this was resistance here. Okay, so yeah, I mean, if you got involved in here somewhere already, consider, you know, maybe taking a little bit off and managing your risk, right? Now, if you are a larger time frame trader, this is what you're looking for in the continuation move on up higher. It's a pretty strong bull flag in here. Look at the pullback in here. It basically just kind of went grinded up a little bit and then followed by strong buying. All right, makes sense. Understand? Can you see that in here? Can you see the strong move? And then it continued to be strong here. Okay, and we notice that, and it's like, okay, and then this spoof here, and then they're on the bid here, followed by buyers, right? So we did have a lot of pieces in here. Okay, so yeah, we would be looking for this to break out here, or break into this 38.50, and then potentially through it. This is pretty strong here. This is the higher probability that we're talking about. All right. Okay, so now let's see if we can break out into 52 and maybe 53 and 55. Okay, now how do you manage something like that? Well, you probably already took some off. Okay, or you can consider doing that. Reduce some of that risk. You can put your stop at break even or overall break even. A lot of times I like to put my stop at overall break even on these because I know this is a strong move. I know there's going to be pullbacks at some point, so I want to stay in it though. Okay, now we're up at 52. Okay, look at this move in here. This is a tiny little pullback in here. That was it. Okay, so you know, if you got involved in here now, I think oh boy, or maybe it was someone else said that they don't like to chase. Absolutely, no, I understand it. Yeah, Floyd, you don't like to chase. However, the condition of this auction here is telling you something, and you don't. It's not chasing. I mean, this never even, I mean, if this went against you, maybe it went 1 point against you. Maybe you got in here. Maybe it was like three ticks, maybe 4 ticks. Okay. And I'm not recommending that you get in here, but if you did, because, you know, we don't want to recommend trades. We don't want to, like, you know, have people go, well, I followed you and I took the trade and I lost and now you guys suck. That's not the you missed everything. You missed the whole point. Okay, is the move here, the order flow is strong. We're looking for the direction to continue, and we got it right. So we read the condition of the orders. We see even this little kind of like spoof in here, or they're, you know, layering in 3 levels. They all pulled at the same time. We see a little bit on the bid in here. We see the reaction as buyers. We're looking for our 50, and then this one had now the potential, and we noted it. It had the potential to break out into 52, 53, 54, 55. Okay, it hasn't gotten to 55 quite yet. Right? Why? Why did we think that? Well, strong buying over here, pull back to here. Buyers still supporting it, and then this was really strong in here. Buyers, more buyers. There's not really a pullback in here. I guess this little move here, right? And then the order book was giving us some good information in here. Okay, so more buyers. They're pulling here. They're adding on the bid. Great, looking for the move up. All right, now you reduce some risk along the way. You made some profits, and now look at the sellers come in. Okay, so I'm hoping that you know, the management in here taking some off, taking some more off along the way, and you could still be in it, and you can still be bullish in here. Okay, no question. It's just a pretty strong pullback, or, you know, quick move back down to 38.50. Right, but I don't know. This is why I like to look at some of these measured moves. Why I like to take some off at some of these areas and just exit. Look for the next setup that I think is higher probability. right? This is where you got to find out what works best for you. I find that works better for me, but let me tell you, I can't tell you how many times I'm kicking myself when it comes up into 60, 70, 80, and all I did was take off some here at like 53 or 54. On the other hand, like, many times it's reversed, or I see something in here, yeah, it saved me, right? But one thing that's really nice in here, and I would suggest this, is that you consider, when using some of these order flow techniques, consider building confidence by taking these smaller trades or looking for these things to work out and then exiting, and waiting for the next thing that looks good and then exiting. How do I calculate the measured moves? Yeah, very, very simply. I just look at, well, let's use the rectangle. It's easier. I just look at some of these things in here, like, yeah, I mean here, and then basically you're looking for the same thing on their flag pattern here. It's and basically it did it here, up into 38.50. I mean, there's really no pullback in here, not much to speak of, right? This is a very bullish bull flag, right? And then another thing I look at is the liquidity. Okay, I'm looking for them. We know that they traded into and through this, but then it failed, and then we see this strong action. So we're looking for not only 50, but we're looking for the breakout of 50. Okay, does that make sense? Because we're already up here, we already know there's strong buying up here. We pulled back. We even talked about volume smile in here, I think, or maybe that was here. Yeah, that was here. And then we're looking for the there's just a lot of buying pressure, so we're looking for it to trade up into this higher liquidity here. Okay, so I like to, if I'm looking for a measured move, I really like to line it up with the liquidity. Okay, does that make sense, Floyd? And there's an order flow sense to this as well, in these measured moves. Okay, that it's not just, I mean, there is a reason for it. Let's see if we can kind of maybe piece it together in here. I mean, basically we're looking at ranges, okay, and then we're looking for another range, equal kind of range in here. Okay, we can talk about ATR, average true range of the market. This did actually half of it. Now we're looking for another bull flag in here. Okay, maybe up into 60 now, and we know there's liquidity up at 60. Okay, or maybe it just does half, right? Maybe it just did a half retracement, and maybe this even fails here. This is as high as it goes. Okay, and maybe this fails and then comes back down below 50. All right, this is a false breakout. Okay, it did not do its full measured move. It only did half. Okay, enough to stop a bunch of people out. Okay, it makes sense. Why? Because in here, in this big range in here, half the people, these half down here, are likely putting their stop up here. Okay, so we've broken it into two, and that's why we're looking for kind of a 50%. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay, it's due to the range though, right? And the people in here, where are they going to be putting their stops? Up here? Maybe they'll put it like, up into these higher levels. Then, a full ATR, that's a pretty large stop. So hitting about half of it might get a lot of people, like in these areas here. They're basically, if you got in down here as a seller, and you didn't get stopped out in here, and you put it if you put it at the top of the range and you go, well, I also want to get a little more protection, I'm going to put it up here. You still got hit. Okay, and it makes sense though that you may put it up here if you got in down here and it's like, well, it can't go a whole ATR, or or a whole range move in here. Well, it did, and it got you, right? If you put it way up here, you're still in it, but you got to put your stop way up here, and it still might get hit. Yeah, a macro focus. Okay, Tarek, let's go over a macro focus. And that's exactly what I wanted to go over earlier. I've been answering a lot of questions in here. Oh boy, maybe we can go over the indicators, absorption. We went over stop runs, liquidity changes. Yeah, I mean, we're going over the liquidity changes as well. Just the absorption indicator. Maybe we can go over another time on that. Floyd, I hope I answered your question on measured moves. Let's see, Mike, you're new. Investing in S&P, which makes about 9% a year. Don't quite understand if you're like holding for the entire year. Yeah, I mean, well, with futures, there's a date of expiry, and you'll have to roll it over. If you're holding for the entire year, you might as well trade something like SPY, okay, or very, very long time frame options, leaps. Okay, so anyway, and at that point, you might as well just buy the underlying. Okay, so all right, let's take a look at this higher time frame stuff, and then yeah, let's see the poll in here. 90% of you guys. Okay, so 40 votes. Guys, get your vote in. 90% you guys really like to see this microstructural stuff. Microstructural, the definition for it is sub-second. All right, so we're looking at very low time frames, but not necessarily sub-second. I mean, boy, when you look at some of that sub-second level stuff, that's a different ball game. Bookmap shows it. It'll show it down to the billionth of a second. We're looking at nanoseconds, but and we can gain something from that information as well. All right, so I'll end the poll. Looks like you guys definitely want to look at more of that stuff, so that's good. I mean, there's no question about it, right? We got 48 votes in here, so get your vote in if it's a no or a yes, but it's overwhelmingly a yes so far. And guys, while you're doing it, might as well, if you can, subscribe to our channel here. We will go over the more input we get about that kind of information, the more we'll deliver on this kind of what you request. That we're looking at only the S&P just because you guys request it. We don't have to. If most people request Bitcoin, we will look at Bitcoin. Okay, or Apple or whatever it is. All right, 54 votes, 93%, still climbing. Okay. All right, last 10 seconds. I'm going to end the poll. If you haven't gotten your word in. All right, and we'll go over more and more. But what I want to do here, and I'm going to take just about 10 minutes, I think, to go through this. Okay. All right, we're going to end the poll here. I want to take about 10 minutes, and this is our whole education in a nutshell. All right. All of these levels, we talked about it yesterday. When we look at these microstructural levels in here, or small structural time frames, okay, it is no different than larger time frames. It really is the same stuff. All the market mechanics is all the same in here. They really are. So it is the aggressor that moves price. It is the limit orders here in the heat map that can keep price from moving by absorbing that buying or selling pressure. Now they can also influence heavily the order book. Like right in here we see the influence. Okay, on the bid they pulled, maybe some transacted here, but look at this. High liquidity here, like a point away basically. High liquidity here, two ticks away. Okay, do we find more sellers? Yeah, we do, right? So this influenced the price action. All right, so this is important information. I can show you like white paper after white paper of quants and financial engineers, how they're studying this to get an edge or to write algos that do precisely this so that they can get an edge in the market. Okay, and then they lift that liquidity. We get some buyers come in. Let's see if they lift this liquidity in here a little bit. Comes right back up into here, right? Back up into 54. All right, so understanding this kind of information in here is just part of the auction process. It's all an auction. At the highest time frame, it is still an auction. It is all order flow. All right, so now what we're starting to understand is we're looking at the aggressors in here, the sellers, okay, hitting the bid, and we look at the bars, look at the dots, look at the price structure in here. Let's take the heat map off for now. Just look at the price structure. We are trending down. We see more sellers at lower lows. We see very few buyers at these higher highs, but there is some buying in here. Okay, so we have a potential now. This is exactly what we do on the higher time frame. Exactly. And we're looking for actually this high liquidity, or we're looking for high liquidity to get filled on the bid on the way down here. Do we get that? Not really. And then we start to see some buying coming in. Interesting. Still more sellers. We're still going with the trend. Didn't break any structure here. Did not make a higher high. Made an equal high. Okay, and then we're still looking for more sellers. Now, do we get a lot of sellers down here? Not so many. Okay, do we get a bunch of buyers in here? Not really. So it's not really quite ready yet. Okay, so now some sellers here, a little bit of sellers here. Okay, they did break the structure. They continued with the trend. And then we get buyers back in. They break this little structure, looking for them to come back up and test this one here and then this one here, because this is where it can transact, right? There's transactions there. It did not exhaust out. There was some. Okay, and now if we get enough buyers in here, this is where we're looking for it to go. Okay, just based on the aggressors' behavior, not the heat map. The heat map we're looking for, well, we don't really know. We keep seeing them pull. I guess this area here, 53 3/4, right, is where most of it is. Right, so what unfolded here? Okay, so now we zoom out a little bit more. We start to understand this move to the downside a little bit deeper. We're starting to see those buyers come in. They're starting to transact up here again. Great. Lifting it. Great. Let's see them trade back up into these areas here. Okay, and it does. Right, up into 54 and then actually 55. Okay, now this here, what we just covered, the aggressors coming in and moving this lower, we're going to take that and we're going to look at a higher time frame. All right, and we can look at it in here. Okay, so for example, well, nothing but aggressors in here mostly, right, moving it to the upside. Okay, well, what about the pullbacks in here? Not bad on the sell side. Not bad here. Okay, but the price action or the price structure, well, we need sellers to see them come back down into these lower levels here to put this in jeopardy, because this is a very strong, powerful move. Okay, since 9 a.m. and 9:30 cash open, even stronger. Right, they are in control of the market. We're looking for these pullbacks. This is what we were just kind of going through it was basically a small kind of trend to the downside, and then it reversed, right? Well, this is a strong trend to the upside and just a pullback and a continuation move here. So that's what we're looking at in here. Now, understanding precisely, we can look at the candles. We know where the volume is trading within this price action and price movement. We also know where the liquidity is. These are where the sellers are, the majority of them, at the figure at 38.50. Okay, where are they on the bid? Well, they're down here at 30. They're here at 35. They're here at 40. Okay, as price is moving up. Okay, so we're putting together our understanding of the order flow, and we can even mark this up. And let's okay, so we can look at our price structure and patterns, your zigzag patterns. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, is any question about who remains in control just by looking at the zigzag pattern? Okay, buyers are still in control. They're still making higher highs. They're making higher lows in here. This is so important to understand. And now it's the order flow or the transactions within that structure, just like we were looking at that very low time frame. Exactly the same thing. It is exactly the same thing. So lots of buyers up here, some sellers down here. Not bad. Buyers come back in looking for them to trade back up to the strength. They broke out. We got a pullback here, not enough to take it higher and just go exponential here at that time. We get a pullback again. Okay, and not enough sellers to even trade back down here. Start to see the buyers come in back to the strength here and looking for the breakout. Okay, same concepts on that very low time frame as we are looking at here on the higher time frame for the day. Okay, now that, okay, any questions on that? Let's see, Discord, consider CVD and divergences. Yeah, no, we've talked about CVD, Marcel, and we'll maybe cover it another time if you don't mind. I mean, we covered it in detail in some of the past webinars recently, and divergences, etc. Okay, yeah. Oh, great to hear, Marcel. Okay, so yeah, let it sink in. We can cover CVD another time. Or find there's plenty of webinars. Look it up in the title. You'll see it in there. All right, so anyway, now we're understanding this price structure and the volume within it. Okay, and we held true on this in here, and we went through scenarios to look for what was more likely to unfold here. So anyway, this is order flow even on this time frame. All right, now if we look at order flow on a much higher time frame, okay, let's start with a daily here. Okay, and these are candles. Now we don't know where precisely the volume transacted in it. We just don't have access to that. This is really not very transparent here. All right, and we talked about it even yesterday that we had a good, I mean, it was pretty choppy during yesterday's action. It was in here. And we were looking for a pullback, and we were looking, well, we saw the strength here on the daily chart here, also the hourly chart. The daily chart, though, it just kind of pulled back here on this candle here, and that makes sense here. It's up at the high, it's up near the swing high here, and then some profit taking. We gapped up into that. All right, so a gap is strong. We look for to trade up to, we talked about this 16 up into this kind of 15, 16 area yesterday and retest those areas. It did that, and it pulled back and closed below. Today we have the follow through, right? So we're bullish. The hourly chart, we're bullish. The 15-minute chart, there was some back and forth in here, which we read, and then we're looking for the breakout and the continuation here. Now the daily chart, where is it going? Well, probably maybe you know, up into these wicks in here, maybe a little bit higher here, 84, 38, 84. If it can be really bullish, it'll come up and test this swing up here at 39.25. Okay, and you get a big green candle for the day, which we may get. It's kind of made it outside of this range now, and we're seeing that buyers are still taking it higher. Right, what we're talking about in here is precisely the same thing as in here. It's order flow. Right, so you know, your trading can be very, very simplified, and your trading plan very, very simple and straightforward. Just understanding some of the order flow and the participants in here. Wow, we gapped up, we found some strength in here. You know, this would answer even the question for the overnight. What if there was strong buying up here? I don't know if there was. I didn't trade the close or look at the close yesterday. If there was really strong buying up in here, I don't recall. I think I was there actually, but anyway, I don't quite recall. You know, then you look for that overnight to continue on up. And those are easy trades too. I mean, you know, easy reads, and you're just looking for strength in here to continue. All right. Again, this is understanding the participants in the market on a much higher time frame. So we can use this here for a trading plan. Okay, we can look at and have understanding on higher time frames that there's still strength in here. Then we can look at our lower time frames and look for strength in the lower time frames to continue on up. And that's what we were doing. Okay, we started the webinar by identifying the strong move here of the buyers. And then we're looking for, you know, in some of these areas in here, who's winning the battle, buyers or sellers in here, and we're looking for them to trade back up into these areas here. We noted the strength, right? And then there was an easier, okay? Because we didn't have a lot on the bid in some of these areas, and it kind of chopped around. And then we saw, I think it was this one in here. Yeah, it was this one. Okay, so, and this one was telling us something. Okay, that we see strength in here, couldn't get back up. The retest, the pullback was to still the strength of the buying down here, and it still accepted higher, and we found even more buyers up in here. This is where it was a, you know, it was like, okay, they're telling us something. Look at this little spoof in here. They pull, they're on the bid in here, not a whole lot, but on the bid, and we're finding buyers. We're looking for 38.50, and this one has the potential. It already traded through it, but this one has the potential to trade into this and through it. It has the potential, at least. We don't know, but the orders and the participants here, more likely we're looking for this to unfold. Okay, so that's it, and it continued here. We just traded up into 55, and like I was saying, I would have been out at 54 and maybe kicking myself when we're going up to 60, right? But I just look for the next opportunity and get involved in here, and then just same process, and just look for the next high probability trade. All right, and then just manage it carefully. So you know, you build confidence, you build your trading plan, you know that it's higher probability, and now you got something. All right, stay humble or get humbled. I love it. I love the title, and oh, thank you. Yeah, that's your title says it all right there, or your name. If you have to stay humble and you have to stay objective. Okay, go through the scenarios. If that doesn't happen, what did it do? What was the reaction to some of this market behavior, or some of these participants in the auction. How did the market behave? This is what we want to determine on all time frames. And you have to stay humble. You have to. Otherwise, you will get slammed. And if you don't learn to get humbled, you're a fool. Hey, David, nice to see you in here. We're just ending. Anyway, the more objective I have found time and again, the more objective that you are with your reading of the order flow on all of these time frames, the more likely the move will unfold in the direction that you're looking. Okay, once I start to look at this and go, oh yeah, it's got to go up, because of it's just I had a great day yesterday, and I read this and I think I know what I'm doing now. It just that's when you get in trouble so quickly. Yeah, likely this is still looking for this to still climb up into 60. Okay, what are the scenarios though? Right, where do I get in? How do I manage this? Is there anything in here that I'm missing in my analysis and my reading of the order flow here? Well, they're on the bid. We're getting buyers. They're trading up into these guys here. Still looks pretty good. Okay, they did lower it a little bit here. This guy did come in and stay in the order book here. He did get filled. Okay, maybe there's a little bit of a spoof or a little bit of a push here on the bid, but that's good right now. Okay, and we're just one tick shy of 60. Still looking for 60 to trade. Okay, so now look at 60's adding. They're pulling here. All right, well, we can come back down to 58. Right, it's possible. Okay, it can come down further. Maybe someone comes in with a large order and just sweeps the order book down here. Right, so then how do you manage that? How do you stay humble, and how do you manage that very objectively in here? Well, take some off before the large liquidity. Right, don't look for that last tick. Anyway, just some considerations in here for humbly, or I don't want to say properly, but just kind of humbly, or looking for a higher probability for your management, your trade management. All right. All right, guys, thanks for coming, everybody. Now, if you like this, thank you so much for the feedback on the more of the kind of microstructural or market mechanical type of analysis. And we'll extrapolate it again and again to the higher time frame. We'll go back and forth each way. We'll start with maybe higher time frame and drill down, or we'll start with lower time frame and drill up. All right, so that you guys can understand that it is all order flow in here, and this is how just the market works. This is what makes it move, and this is all based on our educational course. You can find it here if you guys want to review it. Go to Bookmap on our YouTube channel here. Go to Bookmap and scroll down, bonus material here, Bookmap educational course. Click on view full playlist. It's right here. Okay, a lot of things we just covered are in parts 1 and 2. Okay, so that should be helpful for you. And then we'll go over it again and again in here. So yeah, if we were kind of objectively, if we held out and we were like really stubborn about, oh, it's got to trade 60. Well, how's that doing for you right now? We're down at 55.5, right? Going through the scenarios, understanding this, reading it objectively, that they traded into. We got the push here. We got the aggressors coming in. That's all good. Then they pull and we see some selling coming in. Well, we're open then. Maybe it'll trade. Maybe it'll break out. But we're open to the possibility it may come down here. And it may come down really quickly. Okay, and it did stop. Did it stop any people out? Not many. and then now we're starting to see, you know, buyers come in and challenge this little move to the downside. All right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Oh boy. And Genevieve. Yep. Well, let's call it a day here. Subscribe to the channel if you like. And thanks again for the feedback. Give us a like in here. Hit the like button. We'll do more of that kind of information, or more of this kind of content, because that's what you guys are looking for. Really good feedback. Thank you. And we'll see you tomorrow with JTrader. It will, for the first 15 minutes, we always go through S&P, and then we'll jump into JTrader, looking at some of his stock trades. Okay. Thanks, guys, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. All right. Yeah. Take care. Bye.